Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we're going to be answering a very, very common asked question. Why? Don't the New Orleans Saints like or pay attention or acknowledge, in the words of great Roman Reigns, why don't they acknowledge LSU players? Why is it that LSU players always seem to be ignored by the New Orleans Saints? That's the question of the day. And I'm asking this question, and I'm acknowledging this question, and then we're breaking this question down, is because for some apparent reason, and I think everybody that has been a Saints fan, I think you pretty much are you know what's going on, man. You hip to the game, as they say. The New Orleans Saints seem to always ignore LSU players, no matter how talented these guys are, even if those guys just so happen to fall into the lap of the New Orleans Saints. And we've seen this a couple of years ago. It happened when the New Orleans Saints decided to draft guard, and he was a center at the University of Michigan, Cesar Ruiz. We seen them decide to go with Cesar Ruiz when we knew that very talented linebacker Patrick Queen, a guy who had a really good college career at LSU, you had opportunity to get him and you didn't. Okay, and a lot of this show is kind of focused on this particular topic because Patrick Queen was on a podcast and he was talking about his draft. You know, the draft that he was in, and the New Orleans Saints have an opportunity to draft him. And this is what he said.
Like, just looking at all the mocks, and it's like, you could fall there. So when the pick came up, I'm sitting there, my dad is like, yes, he's going to be a Saint. And I'm sitting there like, I don't want to be a Saint.
No, I won't be there.
I did not want to go to New Orleans.
Don't wish that on me.
It's just, I guess it's just what it's always been. Like, they don't draft LSU players. So I was like, in the moment, I'm like, I don't want to go there.
Do you know, is there like a known thing for guys coming out that, like, at LSU, like, hey, the Saints don't draft LSU guys?
Like, it's just known. Like,
is there a reason? Like, is there
I guess it's just us being there, from there, playing there for so many years. They don't want to, like, take a risk of them always, just staying where they were.
Distraction. So, I mean, the couple guys that they have gotten from Louisiana, not necessarily that they draft, but, like, have worked, like Quan has been great for them. Yes. You know what I mean? Like,
just come back though. I mean, I get it. It's kind of crazy to see how much. Like what they're willing to pass on in those situations, just to seemingly be like, nah, it's too familiar.
Yeah. So as you can see, those guys are just wondering, like, why the Saints don't draft them, and you can tell Patrick Queen. I mean, he was upset about it. He was like, well, if y'all don't want us, we don't want you. And I understand that completely, but there are exceptions to the rule. I see some people in the chat, bringing up names. But it's not often. If you think about how many talented players come out the state of Louisiana at LSU and they go to other teams and they're like all pros, Pro Bowlers, future Hall of Famers. Like, it's amazing to me how they just pass these guys up and they instead go focus on guys at Ohio State. And no disrespect to any Buckeye. I mean, they have just as many talented players at Ohio State as they do at LSU. But I'm just wondering to myself, I mean, Baton Rouge is like an hour and 30 minutes away. Hour and 30 minutes. And the fact that you have an opportunity, a bird's eye view, to take a look on Saturday and see how talented these guys is, or open the local paper or read local articles and see how talented these guys are. Not to mention, if you have adequate scout team, I mean, that's just a hop, skip, and a jump. If they're traveling all across the country trying to find diamonds in the rough and guys that they want you to draft, I mean, look no further than Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I just don't understand it, okay? It just doesn't make any sense to me, okay? I mean, this is like some of the names that just so happen to come to the New Orleans Saints, it's just weird to me. Like, Will Clapp, no disrespect. I mean, he was drafted by the New Orleans Saints, but he was a late round pick, and he wasn't like one of the best offensive lineman at LSU. It's not like he's one of the best that you ever seen. He was kind of like, I don't want to call him bobbing of the barrel, but you thought about other guys like Lionel Collins. You know what I'm saying? You thought about guys like that before you even thought about Will Clapp. Also, Darrell, the wide receiver, he was on the practice squad for I don't know how long, but you know what I'm saying? He was undrafted. All right? I mean, you talk about Devin Henderson, but Devin Henderson wasn't drafted by Sean Payton. Devin Henderson was drafted by Jim Haslett. He came here he was drafted a year before Sean Payton got here. Now, Sean Payton utilized him as that speedy downfield threat, but he wasn't drafted by Sean Payton. I mean, it just seems to me like these guys have an issue with guys from Louisiana. And look, I understand it from a certain perspective where you feel like, okay, a guy is from that particular area. There are a lot of vices, familiar territory. But when you're a guy that's scouting guys, you do your due diligence and you know the type of person that you're drafting. So it's like as if you're saying these guys aren't rather smart enough or, they're not wrapped tight enough in order for them to make better decisions even if they're staying at home. And we see this, man, because guys, when they have a tendency of playing for their hometown or their home state NFL team, they have a tendency of turning up. They have a tendency of really trying to go out there and put their best foot forward because they understand how much winning means to that culture in that area. So I think that there are pros and cons to every situation, but the fact that you rarely ever look at some of these guys, the fact that you have a guy as talented as Tyrann Mathieu coming into your organization and you're, doing an interview with him and he walks away without a contract, like that's just very alarming to me. Like you're not going to tell me that Tyrann Mathieu isn't the most talented safety if he signs with the New Orleans Saints. You're not going to tell me that. Marcus May, he's more talented than him. You look at some of these guys that they have, that they brought in. I mean, come on, man. Are you trying to tell me that Sorensen is better than Tyrann Mathieu? Come on, man. And once again, every time I bring up Darren Sorensen's name, we're going to play Hardcore Holly because of the resemblance. But seriously, man, like this dude makes your secondary better just by signing with the team. I just don't understand that. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. And it's not like they don't have talent because, once again, you look around the National Football League, these guys got talent all over the place, right? You got Odell Beckham Jr., you got Wentworth, who just retired. I mean, you got Patrick Peterson, even though, he's up there in age, he's still, he has a Hall of Fame career. I mean, come on, man. You think about all these different guys, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. I mean, the list goes on and on. Patrick Queen. I mean, why are you sitting up here like ignoring these guys' talent when they come in? They just have an immediate impact. So I just think that's weird to me. Hopefully, we might see that change. Maybe that was just the way Sean Payton operate, and maybe Dennis Allen will do things differently. Maybe he will acknowledge the talent that they have in Baton Rouge, because for some apparent reason, Sean Payton didn't know that Baton Rouge exists, and it is weird. But let's go ahead and go to the comments. Jerry says, "What's the deal with the Saints and LSU, and they're both in the same state? Help me with that. I have not a clue." And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Tim Jizzle, what's happening? Not gonna lie, bro. I'm going to be annoyed if we don't take Olave or Wilson, one of those picks. Well, look, I hope that they do that. The Saints carry themselves with a level of arrogance. The front office and stuff like that. And I get it. They feel like they feel like they can win with anybody, and I like that personality. But sometimes it shouldn't be as hard as the New Orleans Saints organization make it at times. While you're trying to figure out in year 2, year 3, is a guy worth you giving an extension to, you can have young, talented wide receivers, young, talented quarterbacks, young, talented running backs that can come in and give you immediate impact. But the Saints choose to do things differently, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know if they just get guys that's supposed to be cogs on the wheel, so when it comes to like contract negotiations, maybe they can lowball them. I don't know. Like, you good, but like we're going to give you that. I don't know what's going on with this team, but I will say this, man. When we go into this this regular season, I'm going to critique this team a whole lot differently than I did in years past, because some of the actions that they have done this offseason just makes me just think, like, what the heck are they doing? And I get it. Like, I'm not asking for you to go out here and get no high-priced free agents and be playing money ball, not playing money ball, but acting as if, you playing Madden with the salary cap off. But I would like a little bit of sense of urgency. Like, I don't see that sense of urgency when it comes to this team. And I just think that people are just way too comfortable with the fact that, Sean Payton is gone and we still going to be all right. Like, Sean Payton was a huge part of why this team maintained success all these years. And also his annoying attention to detail also helped the Saints out of a lot of situations. I'm just wondering to myself, how is Dennis Allen going to react? Dennis Allen doesn't have the pull that Sean Payton has. So when it comes to Mickey Loomis, does he have that type of pull? Will Mickey listen to him the way that he would listen to Sean when Sean came up with different ideas? Or will Mickey just do what Mickey does? And which he is a really good GM, I'll give him that. But still, man, like, handling like football personnel situations, I think it's supposed to be a combination of the GM as well as the coach. So I'm just interested to see, man, because like I said, I'm going to critique this team completely different, because my biggest issue is they showed their hand. Like, you go out here and you exhaust all your savings and you start to move money around all so you can get Deshaun Watson. But then you turn around and when you can't get Deshaun Watson, now all of a sudden you're getting guys that come from teams that's probably like the third, fourth at their position. They're a role player in a rotation. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm not a fan of that. I need to see aggression, the same type of aggression you had when you were trying to go after Deshaun Watson. And the fact that Tyrann Mathieu left the organization without a contract really just tells me that the only reason why they brought him in was the fact that we were on social media and really going out here trying to lobby for him to come to the organization. And I also think that had a lot to do with the fact that a lot of people felt alienated by them going after Deshaun Watson, because we know Deshaun Watson in the emotion that that he registers with people. So it's almost like, to me, like they were being apologetic or something like that. Like, you had a lot of people that were upset, like people, the members of the media, the ones that's very influential, and also be able to help people understand their thoughts and their feelings on certain things. So I think that was just a way of them, just throwing like an olive branch out there. Really, they probably didn't have any intentions on getting Tyrann Mathieu, but the fact that he was in Baton Rouge, he was in Louisiana, he was walking around, he was on social media, everybody knew he was there, it would have made the organization look bad if, one of the best safeties in the NFL is walking around your state, still doesn't have a team, and you ain't bring him in. So I just think that it was a bunch of window dressing as of right now. It just seemed like it to me, because like I said, he to me, he's the best safety on your team when you sign him. So why wouldn't you want to sign him? It just doesn't make sense to me. It had to be like some type of hidden agenda, because there's no way in the world that you have a guy of that type of talent, that caliber, still out here on the streets and didn't aggressively try to pursue him. And Tyrann Mathieu said the Saints don't need me. I beg to differ. Okay, that's just him being humble. The Saints need this guy. They need him. He will make that secondary better by him just being a part of it. So I'm not buying that, man. I'm not buying it. The way the Saints are set up right now, Marcus May, you signed him, but he's probably going to get suspended for a couple of games because he had a DUI in February. You got a young safety out there. He's going his second year, Eric Burrell. I'm not thinking you're going to put him out there. JT Gray, he's a great special teams guy, but, I'm pretty sure they're not going to put him as a starting safety. So, what do you have? Sorensen? Give me a break, man. Like, you need more than that. So I'm not buying what they selling, man. I just feel like that was just window dressing. And I don't like my intelligence to be questioned. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't like that political type mumbo jumbo. But it just seemed like to me they just brought him in because he was in Louisiana. It was, you know, they knew he was in Louisiana because of how active he was on social media. And the fact that, you know, a lot of people in the Who Dat Nation wanted the Saints to sign him. So they just brought him in to try to appease the masses. Usually the pre-draft interviews, you get a sense if a player wants to play at home. Maybe they don't. It's not about playing at home, man. Like, look, I tell you like this, right? If you treat me like trash, or, you know what I'm saying, like, if, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to holler, you trying to holler at a girl, or you trying to holler at a guy, and they not really paying you no mind, right? They not paying you any mind at all. Are you going to sit up here and be like, well, I'm going to make them pay attention to me? No, if they not interested, why would you sit up here and be, you know, making yourself interested? I don't blame them. The reason why they feel the way that they do because of the culture, because of what's been shown to them. Like, if you don't want us, well, forget me, then forget you. That's just the way that it works. I feel like if they were to draft guys from LSU like they do with guys at Ohio State, I don't think that you'll have a guy like Patrick Queen feeling the way that he do. I mean, I honestly, once again, I can't blame him. I'm not going to sit up here and, you know, be on my knees or, you know what I'm saying, like, oh, man, like, you just the best thing since sliced toast bread when you don't feel like I'm a main priority. Forget that. So how could you be upset with a guy like Patrick Queen after what the Saints have shown over the last, almost 20 years, that LSU players, no matter how talented they are, no matter if they're available to you, you decide to go in a completely different direction. I mean, I think it's safe to say that at this stage of both of these guys' career, if you had the draft back, who you drafting, Patrick Queen or Cesar Ruiz? Hoodie Jupe, thank you very much for the 199. Said, who that TJ from work? Great show like always. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. If the Saints just recruited just from southern lower line parishes, they would be in a Super Bowl contention year after year. Rich talent pool in Louisiana. Look, I'm not saying that you just need to, you know, go all out and draft all LSU players like rounds 1 through 7. I'm not saying that, but to say that there's not a guy that has come across your board that might be more talented than a guy that you end up selecting, like, and being available, like, come on, man, like, let's like, give me a break. Like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. They just don't have an interest in it, and it's just weird to me, man. You didn't specify Sean Payton, though. You said the Saints. I don't have to specify because if the Saints wanted to draft, regardless of if it's Sean Payton or not, they'll draft him. So Sean Payton, if I'm not mistaken, he is the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. When Sean Payton leaves his house and walks down the street, and you know what I'm saying, who does he represent? He represents the Saints. When he's going to meetings, who he represents? The Saints. When he's talking after the draft, who does he represent? The Saints. When they introduce him, what do they call it? They don't say Sean Payton, they say Saints head coach Sean Payton. So he's a representation of the team. So I don't backtrack by what I said with that, regardless. Like, we can debate that all day. The fact of the matter is, if they wanted that to be a top priority, they would have. Sean Payton is the head coach of the Saints, but you still have other guys on there, you know, that's a part of that organization who choose, you know what I'm saying, if they can pay a guy, if they can't pay a guy. Sean Payton can say, man, we need to try to pay this guy, but if you don't have the money, guess what? They ain't paying him. So it's a combination. It's a combination of head coach and organization. So regardless, I can't buy that. Great topic is obviously the Saints go out of their way to not draft Louisiana players. That's pretty obvious. Now, Tyron said he didn't want to play for the Saints when he got drafted or when he first went to free agency, so that's not fair. Man, what are you talking about? Like, are you just making up stuff now? Are we just making up stuff? First off, Tyrann Mathieu, dude didn't even have He didn't even have anybody interested in him. Dude was a 4th round pick because of all of the problems that he got into, right? The only reason why he ended up getting drafted, to be honest with you, is because Patrick Peterson, who was one of the best in the league at the time, went to the Arizona Cardinals organization and said, if you bring this guy in, I'll wrap my arms around him. I'll make sure that he does the right thing. Patrick Peterson put this dude into his home, let him stay in his house, and taught this dude how to be a professional. And he grew in the process. So the fact that he's saying that Tyrann Mathieu didn't want to play for the New Orleans Saints, at that particular time, Tyrann Mathieu would have been happy if he were playing for anybody because his career was in question at the time. So let's just be careful about the narratives that we say here, man. I don't mind going at, you know what I'm saying, but I do have an issue with people just saying stuff just to try to sound like they know what they're talking about. There's nowhere in the world a guy who was up here with all the problems that he had, because I remember, because they had a time where it was a short period of time when he left LSU. A lot of people thought that he was going to end up playing at Jackson State. And we were like, man, I hope he played at Jackson State. He ended up going anywhere else. He ended up getting, drafted in the 4th round once again because of Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson is the main reason. So you tell, man, there's no way. Like, the dude would have played for anybody at that particular time. I mean, hindsight is 20/20. We look at the dude talent now and how he developed as one of the top players in the league. But once upon a time, a lot of people didn't feel that way about this dude. So let's just be real about this. Dudes feel the way that they feel because, once again, the New Orleans Saints have shown them that they're not interested in guys that come from that area. So why would these guys sit up here and say, man, I want to play for the Saints, when the Saints don't want these guys to play for them? Doesn't make sense. But come on, man, we gotta be real, man. Like, look, I don't mind, once again, going, having, conversations, but let's make sure that we having, factual conversations here, not just the fact that we want to sound right on the ticker. TJ, I like to tackle Trevor Pennington. Dude has a nasty streak, man. He mauls defensive ends. Yeah, I mean, his name has been coming up quite a bit. Talk about his aggression at the Senior Bowl. I like him. I think that it would be a start. You like your offensive linemen to be nasty and grimy and stuff like that. You don't need that particular position a bunch of choir boys. You got to have some level of aggression playing on the offensive line, and you have to have a little bit of confidence, man. You got to have confidence. You can't be going out here just allowing people just to maul you over. Like, you got to have a mean streak about you. So he definitely checks that box. The Saints always try to lowball players and they bounce. Yeah, I mean, let's do like a top priority. Like a Michael Thomas, like Alvin Kamara, like a Lattimore. But safeties they don't keep. Safety they don't keep. Defensive ends for the most part they don't keep. Unless they like middle of the pack. Like we see with Trey Henderson, right? Trey Henderson, double-digit sacked his way up out of New Orleans, goes to Cincinnati, and then, doubles down on the success he had in New Orleans. But, that's just the way that it goes sometimes. I mean, you replace them with quality talent. I will say this at the defensive line, on the defensive line, they had some guys that they developed in their system, and those guys end up being very formidable. It's not all the time you're going to find a guy like a Aaron Donald or Khalil Mack. I mean, you need guys that can go out there, that can win their matchups, get you a couple sacks. Everybody's not going to, have double-digit sacks, and I can understand that. If you have one or two guys that can do that on a Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis type tip, you'll be all right. And the Saints have that. They got it in Cam Jordan, and they got it in Davenport as long as he stays healthy. Coach Allen would have to prove his logistical decision making process before Mr. Loomis gives him the kind of leverage. Yeah, you got to earn it, man. You got to earn it. You got to earn like you know what you're talking about. Like if you're just out here not proving it on the field, not proving it with the personnel that you actually have and developing those guys, then why in the world would I listen to you? I'm not listening to you. I'm not. I have no reason to listen to you. I won't listen to you, and I'm not going to allow you to waste my time. Now, if you put a couple skins on the wall, a couple playoff appearances, maybe a Super Bowl or two, now we can talk. I mean, now we can talk turkey because you've shown to me that you have the capability of whatever personnel I put out here, coaching a mess out of them. Derek says, is it me? But when a former LSU player comes to the Superdome and plays the Saints, they kick our behinds. Well, if that's the case, I have to go back into the archives and figure that out. But if that's the case, I mean, I can't too much blame him. I mean, especially if a guy, gets passed up by the New Orleans Saints and you're like right down the street and you don't want to acknowledge these guys as, worth your time. I mean, look, these guys are so talented to it's ridiculous. It's sad that we even having this conversation. I'm not expecting, once again, I don't want anybody that's just joining the State of the Saints podcast to believe that I want the Saints to draft all LSU players 1 through 7. But God dog, like, can we find a third round, second round pick coming up out that thing? Like, we see this all the time, man. Shouts out to Pete Carroll. Like, Pete Carroll really acknowledges the Pac-12, right? You know what I'm saying? That's where he came from. Like, you start looking at guys, like from USC. Start looking at guys like from Fresno State. I mean, it's not even just like Louisiana. It's like the whole, it's basically like the South. You know what I'm saying? Like, like you look across the South, I'm like, man, Georgia, Mississippi, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you have a fair share like guy from Tennessee. I mean, you got Callaway, you got Kamara, but it's like they don't really pay that much attention. You know what I'm saying? They do the Midwest. They like Big Ten guys. You look at Ramczyk, look at Ruiz, you look at all those guys that come from Ohio State. Like they love themselves some Midwestern Big Ten football players out there, But, I mean, you got all these guys that's coming out of the South, man. Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida. I mean, these guys produce some of the best talent in all of football. Hall of Famers galore. All pros galore. And you, like, love yourself some Big Ten, And then I would understand it if the Saints were a running football team. I would understand it, like, if you just drafting guys from the Big Ten because, they play in the snow and it get cold and offensive line, the hog maulers be pushing back and you running the ball 30, 40 times. I can understand that, right? You get yourself a couple offensive line that come up out that thing. But, you're a finesse team, right? You throw the ball more times than not. If you're not throwing the ball, you're basically, throwing screen plays, which is nothing but, a passing play. So I just don't get it. The philosophy don't even mix. It don't even mix. Like you draft guys that come from a predominantly run, running scheme in the Big Ten, but you don't run the football. Like and the thing about it is these guys are better at run protection than pass protection for the most part with the guys that you draft. So I don't get it. Maybe y'all do, but I don't. We had the same team who passed up on Lamar Jackson. Well, that we got Davenport in the process, which now it's starting to look like it was worth the investment. Having Lamar Jackson would have been great, of course. I mean, he won league MVP. I mean, he's won a lot of games with Baltimore. I'm not mad at that as time goes on. Now, the first couple years of both of those guys' career, I was upset because I was like, man, like, look what Lamar is doing, and Davenport spent more time in the tub than in the club, you know what I'm saying? But now you're seeing this guy like emerge as, one of the most, physical, ferocious and freakishly athletic defensive ends that you're going to find. Like, if he just consistently stays on the field, like, this dude can be like one of the best defensive ends in football. Like, this dude can be like virtually unstoppable, to be honest with you. But hopefully, like, this new strength and conditioning team that they got, that Traquan Smith and C.D. Deuce been lobbying and talking about. Hopefully these guys can help guys like a Davenport and even like Traquan Smith and some of these other guys that's having a reputation of being hurt all the time to stay on the field. Hopefully it can help your last year first round pick and Peyton Turner hit the field too. Hendrickson better than Davenport. I don't think he better than Davenport. He just been more consistent, when it comes. Well, I don't even want to say consistent. I think he takes more. I think he takes more advantage of his snaps, sometimes than Davenport. Like if we're looking at like all of the things all the tools that you need to be a successful defensive end, I mean, Davenport has all that. Trey Henderson just has heart and determination, you know what I'm saying, and a high motor. And you need that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need that. Like, if you look at Trey Henderson don't really have too many pass rushing moves. Like, it's just heart and will. Like, this guy, like, pushes, for the most part, pushes offensive linemen back into the quarterback and sack him. You don't really see him, like, chasing down nobody or nothing like that. Like, he really mostly just has, like, one move, which is that bull rush. But, I mean, bull rush is way to double-digit sacks. But as far as, like, athleticism, ability, like, I put it to you like this. If both of these guys won the battle of attrition, I feel like Davenport would be more successful. Davenport just can't stay on the field. Like, when Davenport is out there, unless you just not paying attention, you can tell he out there. I mean, he be mauling guys. He may not get to the quarterback all the time, but he be mauling those guys. Like, you see him, like, pushing guys over, guys falling back. Like, he's a freakish athlete, you know? I mean, and he's really good. I just think that if you want to talk about, like, determination and heart, I give that to Trey Henderson. He's not the most athletic defensive end you're gonna find, but he has a lot of heart. Like, he has a lot of heart, and he don't give up. He don't quit. You know, like, he has a high motor. From start to finish, every rep you're gonna see him out there being as physical as he can, trying to get to a quarterback, and that's something that that's something that I just stand by. The Saints rather draft players from tiny schools or Yankee schools. What are we in, a Civil War? Yankee. Man, Colonel Custard up in this. Man, said the Yankee schools, man. What is this, man? What you, Robert E. Lee? Who that, everyone? Just had a minute to jump in. Had a blessed day, everyone. Yeah, man, what's going on? Appreciate you for being here. Casey did not want to pay Honey Badger either. Maybe he wants too much money. I don't know. I mean, but guys want to get paid what they worth. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. PJ gonna be better than the Honey Badger. I like PJ, but he is not better than Tyrann Mathieu. 2 LSU players drafted during the Payton era. Who were the two LSU players that were drafted? Can somebody name them? I know Will Clapp was one. Who was the other? I'd rather save the money for Tyrann and pay CD. Well, the salary cap is going to change next year, so you can't just go into, I'm going to just hold my money. Like, nah, man, salary cap changes and players change over. So, man, you got to be able to adjust to that. And hopefully this new salary cap with the new TV deal open up a lot more money for these guys to be able to, distribute. The offensive line strategy needs to remain, though, because Badgers and Buckeyes stay producing maulers. Same for the Irish. Yeah, I mean, look, that's always going to be that way. Look, the Big Ten philosophy is always going to be that way because it's cold, right? You know what I'm saying? It be snowing in some of those games, snowing in the horseshoe, right? You know what I'm saying? It's snowing, and you know what I'm saying, like in Michigan Stadium and stuff like that, man. It's snowing up in that thing. So it's cold. Wisconsin, it's snowing. So you're not going to be throwing the ball 30, 40 times, right? Because, you can't hold on to the football, slipping and sliding everywhere. So my offensive line versus your defensive line, we going to push you back or we going to push you forward, and let the best team win. And that's just always how it's going to be, man. It's always going to be some classic snot bubble football in the Big Ten, just based on weather conditions. Now, you get that in the South now, you know what I'm saying, like in the SEC. But it's almost like it's kind of optional, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're like a running football team in the SEC, you just choose to do that. If you're like you can be a passing football team. I mean, it get cold in Alabama, but, they don't get that cold to a point where, it will stop or prohibit somebody from throwing the football 30, 40 times. That's just their philosophy. That's just the way that they choose to play the game. You have more options to me in the SEC and in the South than you do in the North when it comes to, like, October, November. You can throw the football, but might be a little bit of a challenge if you're throwing the football 30, 40 times in the snow. Brandon Cooks, Garrett Wilson, Saints offense off the change. I heard them talking about getting Brandon Cooks. Wouldn't mind seeing Brandon come back. Still has something left in the tank. Those concussions that he had over the last 3-4 years kind of concern me, but I would like to see him come back. I mean, he was talented when he left the Saints. Just think that I think he had a little bit of a me type mentality, instead of a we. But that kind of changed over time as you become a professional. Let's see. Well, free safeties need to have elite ball hawking skills. So if they go into a better logic, then we should have paid Marcus. Saints don't never pay safeties. They just don't. Like I said, Jarris Bird was the one that they tried to pay, but they also tried to change their defense to that of the Seattle Seahawks, which ended up being like one of the worst defenses we ever seen as Saints fans. Man, don't know what we're going to look like next season. What you think? Well, that's the best thing about it. This all season is different because it is a level of uncertainty, and it's more entertaining. Like you go into the season with these high expectations every single year. When you had Sean Payton, when you had Drew, now you really don't know. But it's exciting because that they have the pieces in place to be successful. The question is, how successful can they be? And can they put it all together in order for them to generate a level of success? I'm interested to see this, man. There's always something to talk about. And even the smallest decisions now are amplified because we're wondering how we going to compensate for the loss of one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and the greatest New Orleans Saints coach of all time. So it's interesting. I don't know. I can't answer that question. Trey Henderson wasn't he drafted by the Saints? Yeah, but he was drafted a year before Sean Payton came. State of the Saints podcast, Elwood, defensive tackle, drafted, by the Saints in 2010. Yeah, that's true. I couldn't think of the other guy. I mean, I just know it wasn't Trey Henderson. Breaking news, Saints just signed Brandon Cooks. Is that true or is not? I mean, I don't know. Somebody make sure that you somebody put that down in the chat if that's true or not, or we just trolling here today. It's just frustrating, man. We need a replacement for Cam Jordan. He got not too much left in the tank. Well, look, you don't know what these younger guys will be able to do. I mean, Peyton Turner got hurt earlier. We don't know what type of player this dude gonna end up being, and we don't know if Davenport gonna be able to push it all and bring it all together. Maybe he'll be able to do that. I get it. You got guys that come into the league and they take the league by storm and they dominate. And then you have guys that continue to dominate. Guys like a Aaron Donald, guys like a Khalil Mack, guys that come off the edge, with ferocious intent. But everybody can't be those guys, right? And then there's a level of jealousy that we have, a level of frustration because we wish we had somebody just as talented as them. And we should be lucky, man, because, Cam Jordan last season towards the end really showed how, he still had something left. I mean, he's an Iron Man. The only time he ever missed a game was he had COVID. Never because of anything that involved his extremities at all. So I'm just glad that you actually have a guy like this while these other guys can be able to put it together. Because can you imagine not having a guy like this when other guys are trying to put it together? And it's not like it's a reoccurring thing or something like that. Like even all the injuries Davenport had, I mean, he still almost had double-digit sacks. What, he had like 9.5 sacks, right? If you have guys that, can get healthy, like a Passanio, he had 4.5, 5 sacks. So if these guys can stay healthy, it's not like you can't have a meeting at the quarterback. They have the talent. I mean, Carl Granderson, a very unsung player, man. Every time he comes in, he makes an impact. So who knows? You might be able to get something out of that. If this is true, like TJ says, I want receipts, man. You ain't lying. Trey, he got plenty in the tank, Cam Jordan. Yeah, man, but I mean, I agree. You know, you want that player to play on a high level as long as possible, but at this particular stage, you want some of these other guys to step up, you know, because, you know, these older guys, you know, they'll be able to produce, but you don't know how long. You know, like it happens kind of abruptly when you see guys like hit a certain level and they like, you know, really dominating, then all of a sudden you're wondering where they at. So you need these other guys to be able to step up. Checking Saints Twitter has nothing about Cooks. What happened with the trade with the Eagles for the NFL draft? The Saints got the 16th and 19th pick, you know, in the draft. They traded the 18th pick. They traded a first round pick from next year and a second round pick, I want to say, in 2024. So they wanted those 2 picks. Some people wondering what they're going to do with those picks. Are they going to try to use it as leverage to try to move up in the draft, or are they going to try to address some of those positions that they need? Fake news, TJ, only thing reporting on Cooks is that Nola is interested. Yeah. Now, like I said, I know sometimes people just go overzealous at times. No, it's not true. Saints just asked about Cooks. You know, we should be hoping this isn't Davenport blowing up year. Gotta hope for a breakout after we sign him for cheap. Well, look, I'm not an advocate for trying to get dudes, and I want those guys to play at a high level. And if they don't get paid, then that's on the Saints, right? Because if you draft these guys, you must have the intentions that these guys were going to be successful. So if this dude has one of the best years and he's still out there in a contract year, you put yourself in that position. When you signed that 5th-year option, you should have just went ahead and extended him, at that particular time, but you didn't. So I don't feel bad for him. And I'm not trying to minimize a guy's, marketability because I want to see them play for the cheap. Nah, man. Look, I want this dude to ball out. I want this man to make as much money as he possibly can. And if he can't do it with the Saints, then oh well. It's not, it's not his problem, right? That's the Saints should have signed him. It's just as simple as that, man. I would love to see that. Like, I don't have any ill will or any ill feelings towards any player that leaves the New Orleans Saints for greener pastures. Because let's just be real. I do not hold anybody to a certain level of accountability for something I wouldn't even do for my own self. If right now, if you're working at a job, let's just say you worked at the job, we'll say 5-6 years, and then all of a sudden there's another job, same position, more money. You're not going to tell me like you ain't about to go on Indeed and put that application in? You're telling me that? Like, come on, man. Like, nothing in life works like that. Like, we can talk about, man, moral standards and moral compass and all that kind of stuff there, but if somebody offering us more money, better opportunity, you ain't about to tell me that you ain't going to take it. So I don't expect, why would I expect any other player in the National Football League to do the same thing that I wouldn't want to do in my actual life? The only one that would benefit is us, right? Because it makes us feel like a winner, because that player might make a play or two, but he making a play or two, but he losing out on $6 or $7 or $10 million that he could have got somewhere else, just to make us feel good inside. Nah, man, I'm good. I'm hoping Dennis Allen plays physical playoff type football with a heavy run game. Yeah, I hope so, man. I hope they change some things up. I don't expect for them to want to throw the ball all over the place. I hope not. I want these guys to be a physical football team. I think they kind of transition from being all finesse and stuff like that during the time with Sproles and Jimmy Graham was there. I think they got a little bit of a nastiness to them, but I think they can be more nastier, when it comes to a team. They got some guys out there that can bring that out, but you need more. Sub TJ, to your opinion, some brought that up and I didn't see nothing wrong with it. How would you rate the intelligence from 1 to 10 drafting 2 wideouts in the first? I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary for you to get 2 wide receivers in the first. And I get it, right? Our offense was terrible, right? And We didn't have guys that can get off the line of scrimmage. We didn't have guys that can win those 50-50 balls. But we also have to take into account, man, guys develop and get better, and you have to take that into account as well. And you also have to understand that the offense that the Saints run, the longer that you are in that system, the better that offense can be, because you don't have to spend majority of your time trying to figure out what this young guy knows. Can he do it? Can he apply it to his game? I mean, guys come in and they're young and they're inexperienced and they're learning the playbook. They're not playing as fast as they once did versus some guys that have been in the system about 2 or 3 years. But I'm not advocating for them to keep the same wide receivers they had, but adding another young guy and combine him with, a couple more of the guys that have been on the team already, I think that you can kind of hold down the fort when Michael Thomas comes back and a couple more of these guys until maybe that young wide receiver will be able to develop. And we seen it, right? We seen like guys like Kamara, right? Kamara first came in, first couple of games. It's like, man, why he ain't playing like he did in preseason? Then all of a sudden that Lions game happened, and then the light came on. But it took like a couple of weeks for him to like really get into that mode, because a lot of people was talking about how good Kareem Hunt was when he was with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was going to be the offensive rookie of the year. And then towards the latter part of the season, you start seeing Alvin Kamara come on. But it was because, these guys had to develop and learn. That's just the way that it goes sometimes. So I think that having, a wide receiver come in, learn the system. At the same time, you have some guys that are familiar with it, help him, grow and make that transition. So that's just the way I feel. TJ, you have 130 views, but only 34 likes. Support the brother and hit the like button. Yeah, Eric, thank you, man. I appreciate that. If you're here, have 143 people in here right now, go ahead and hit the like button. Just go ahead and just hit that thumbs up for your boy. Help the show grow. Help us get to, we're on the road to 8,000 subscribers right now. So I'm asking everybody to please make this happen. You make it happen by hitting that thumbs up, man. The more thumbs up that happen, the more eyes be able to see the State of Saints podcast. Do you feel like we need another running back just in case? No, I think we need another running back, period, Larry. I don't think it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that AK is going to be suspended. I think that you needed another running back regardless, because I want to say Josh has said this. I want to say Chosen has said this, and several other individuals, that you need to probably consider running a 3 running back set, getting 3 running backs out there and wearing down the defense. That's something I would love to see. And you see a lot of teams starting to do that too. The only one person that's happy Marcus Williams going is that Tom Brady. Well, now he has to deal with Ceedee Deuce. Because Ceedee now seems like he's the guy in his head, and it's not like, oh, I'm just catching an interception. I'm going to go up to you and let you know that I'm coming. Great podcast, TJ. First time in your live cast. Been listening for a few months now. Keep up the great work. Click that like button. Ramon, thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you supporting the show. Got a lot of people, that's been coming in. A lot of new viewers and listeners of the podcast, and I appreciate you. Thank you all so much. TJ, TJ, you look like a Mike T or Traquan Smith clone. I do not. I do not. I guarantee you that. I mean, both of those guys, taller than me, probably more physically imposing than me. Probably not Traquan, man. Traquan probably not. Hopefully, we use the fullback too. He gets positive yards too, even though we may not pay attention to him. Well, look, I don't care how they get the yards chosen, but I do feel like they need to get back to that pass catching fullback thing. When they had John Kuhn was here. You know what I mean? Like you need that guy that's be able to catch the ball out of the backfield and also be able to get you those couple of yards. I think they need something like that. You're a handsome man, TJ. I appreciate that. I hope my wife feels the same way. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. That's how they won the Super Bowl a year with Bush, Mike Bell, and Pierre Thomas, three-headed monster. I agree with that, and I think they need to go back to that. Look, I'm always an advocate for like 3 running backs. I like physical football. I like physical football. Zach Line was a great fullback. I agree with that. Zach Line was good for the Saints. I think he was extremely talented for the Saints. I mean, he was getting those extra yards. If it was ever a 3rd and 1, it was very rare that he didn't get the first down. I think when he left and he decided to retire, I think something was missing. You know, I mean, you had some guys that were pretty talented, but Zach Line, I mean, he was that Mooj Johnston. You know, some of y'all probably don't know who Mooj Johnston is. You know, fullback for the Dallas Cowboys, blocked for Emmett. TJ, multiple reports saying Tyron wasn't going to sign a deal this early, no matter what. He also said he still wants to play for NOLA earlier today. Look, Keen Arthur, I kind of let me say this. Okay, I said in a tweet that they shouldn't let him leave, leave the facility without a contract. That was more so about the sense of urgency. Did I feel they were going to sign him? I was like, let me wait and see. Because even though, like, I think I had a show. It may have been the day before he actually went to the facility. I said it wouldn't be smart for him to sign right now because teams are so focused on the NFL draft and they can easily lowball this dude by saying, well, we might get something in the draft. Guys can, like, say, okay, man, we might address our safety situation in the draft. So by signing, you might be lowballing yourself. Now, after the draft, if teams can't get the safety that they want or the player that they want, it makes him more valuable. Signing right before the draft, not necessarily the best idea in the world. And if his agent didn't, specify that, then maybe you might want to find yourself another agent. But, I mean, I think it was about where the Saints felt, where he was at. As far as like how much money he wants at that particular time, or what he feel like he's worth, and maybe they feel like they can go back and check it out. But I don't think he's going to sign to after the draft anyway. That wouldn't be very smart. But like I said, my tweet had a lot to do with the fact that I feel like that type of sense of urgency you need to have with this dude and how important he can be to your team. I mean, but by not signing, that might have been a smart decision, but. Man, if he does decide to sign, I feel like that would be a great idea for the Saints. Who that, TJ? What do you love the show, bro? I guess you're saying you love the show. Thank you, man. I'm doing great. Saints set with Jameis, get the man weapons. Well, we heard Drew Brees say that, get this guy some weapons, get this dude an offensive line, get this dude a running game, and I think you'll be all right. Don't put too much pressure on the dude like how he was in Tampa. He was throwing the ball all over the place. Let him, be able to see the game. It's hard for you to see the game if you're not, you feel like you have to do it all by yourself. Have some guys out there that can make some things happen too. He puts the ball in the hand of a wide receiver. He gets that yards after the catch. You get a running back, probably, break a couple tackles, getting 10 and 15 yards. Put some guys around him where he doesn't feel like he has to be the guy. I mean, I kind of know how Jameis actually is, man. I kind of got that mentality. I like to believe. Like if you ever been like on a park or you ever been playing like, a football game, I don't know, soccer game or whatever like that, and your team down and you start thinking like, man, look, I got to put this team on my back. I got to do something. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to put up some extra shots or something. Like I still got something left in the tank. I can drive to the hole or, I can make some things happen. I think that's his mind frame, and it's kind of like how guys are who are in, those leadership roles. They take it upon themselves. When they losing, they feel like they losing because of me. I got to step it up. That's a great quality to have, but sometimes that can be your Achilles heel because in the process you're looking at, oh man, I need to put it all on me, but you're not looking at the other guys that are around you or the other women or girls around you that can help you, put a hole into this lead or actually take the lead. If the Saints put some players around this dude to do that, I think you'll be fine. Mike Carney was a good fullback. He was like an extra offensive lineman. Yeah, John Carney. Yeah, he definitely was good too. I feel you, TJ, but do you think it could turn a player off if you try to force their hand? Could. And Well, I don't feel like, they need to force his hand. I hope not. But if you are talking to a player and you just actually disrespect him, minimize his accolades, all in the name of, trying to, negotiate a deal, I think that can turn a player off. Look, when you go into contract negotiations, you have to have a level of confidence in yourself. Those guys can smell blood in the water, right? I don't care if you have this sense of doubt. I don't care what you're doing, folks. If you feel like you deserve a raise, if you feel like you're doing a podcast and you're talking to affiliates, sponsorship companies, like if they don't believe that you feel like you're the best, then why would they pay you like you're the best? So you need to walk in with a sense of arrogance, and because teams can smell it. Like he's not sure about himself. We probably can get him for less money. Like, come on, man. Like, you shouldn't carry yourself that way at all. Right? You should carry yourself with a level of confidence that to a point where representation or companies or organization be like, man, we need this guy on our team. Because I used to be that way when it comes to like sponsorships and stuff like that and podcasts, and I was like, I'm gonna just say that for all the people that may think about starting podcasts or have started podcasts that check out this show. When you first start out, you're just so happy that people acknowledge you. Like, oh man, you know what I'm saying, this is great. And then you have these individuals that reach out to you. Oh, we want you to work with us, and they lowball you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh, you get so happy that somebody acknowledge you. But then once you realize, man, they screwing the heck out of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're about to be like, nah, bro, never again. So a lot of these players, they go into these organizations with a sense of confidence, like, man, they probably screwed me before. This ain't gonna happen again. So my arrogance is at an all-time high. Like, man, you need me. I don't care if you had 3-4 safeties up in here, 4-5 defensive ends that you trying to try out. They ain't better than me. You ain't better than me. So when I come up in this thing, things gonna change. People gonna know I'm in this thing. If you aren't carrying yourself like that, don't do anything. Don't don't start no business. Don't start no podcast. None of that stuff, man. If you don't have any sense of confidence in your ability, like, don't do it. Because people will lowball you because they don't want to pay you. I mean, I don't care who it is. Your favorite organization, your favorite company. No, they don't want to pay you, man. But they want to use your services, though. You know what I'm saying? They see the type of reaction that you get. They see the type of production that you have. But they don't want to pay you. But don't never let anybody do that to you. TJ, you the GOAT at this, Larry. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Bishop Joshua. Hey, TJ, I know we talk about good cornerbacks we had in Saints history, but I noticed a name never come up is Mike Mckenzie. I know he was way better with the Packers, but I think he was decent with us. Your thoughts? I think that Mike McKenzie's best days were in Green Bay. He had maybe like 1 or 2 good years, tops, with the New Orleans Saints. But it wasn't his fault. It's not like he's terrible. Like, I feel like they just kind of used him up. It's like a car that you had for a long period of time. You put a lot of miles on that thing, and you probably just sold it, to somebody else. And, they got a little good commute or two out of it, but it's not the same as it was when it had, low miles on it. I think that he did a good job. I think, he definitely rose to the occasion. I'll never forget that night in the Superdome when he got signed. I want to say on a Tuesday of the week before, and he went out there and lined up against Randy Moss and shut him down. I remember that. I definitely remember that because it was a big deal. I think he even had an interception in that game, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Mike McKenzie definitely deserved honorable mention. He definitely kind of filled the void that the Saints needed at that particular time. And yeah, man, I think he was good, but I think his best days were in Green Bay. That was Al Harris. But yeah, him and Al Harris, man. Al Harris on one side, Mike McKenzie on the other side. Yeah, man, them boys had them long dreads, man. Them boys were locking down the field. Yeah, I never forget that. Mike McKenzie was really good. He was really good for him, and he was always he always had the task of going up against Randy Moss and probably played him better than most cornerbacks did, even Darrelle Revis. So that boy Dominion looked like an inmate. You are right. Saints always want to negotiate like Harold Melvin did Teddy Billy. Ain't much negotiate was going on with that darkness. Said Harold Melvin used to have money under his mattress, right? Had thousands of dollars under his mattress. Yeah, man, look. Didn't sing really no leads. Teddy Pendergrass used to sing all the songs, all the great joints that they had, to be free, to be who you are, and, all those other joints. Teddy Pendergrass set the thing off, but Harold Melvin's name was always on it, right? Harold Melvin didn't lead nothing. Teddy Pendergrass was killing it, being a lead singer of that group. Yeah, but Harold Melvin, yeah, man, he was a cheapskate, man. Didn't want to pay nobody. Talking about he ain't had no money all underneath his mattress. Yeah, he shut Randy Moss down. Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, majority of the time. Bishop Josh Winkle, get rid of Ramchick. Dude can't block, right, TJ? Can he block? Ramchick can't block?
Hell no. To the no. Hell to the no.
Man, of course he can block. Best player on the Saints team, in my opinion. Do you think Adebo and Marshawn be the best cornerback duo in the league? I do. I think they have the capability of doing that. I'm not gonna say that they are. The proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, how many guys have you seen walk into the gym, right? You're playing a pickup basketball game. This dude like 6'8", one dude 6'8", other dude about 6'10". They end up being on your team. And you like, oh, man, we about to run the court, man. Yeah. All of a sudden, you see that boy down in the post. He put up that Kareem skyhook, and it go over the rim. And you like, man, whoa, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? You 6'10", man. I thought we was about to be out here getting buckets. You know what I'm saying? Like, can't dunk, falling on the ground, looking like they slipping on banana peels going down the court. Like, man, look, I made the biggest mistake in my life, okay? Look, I need to see it. I need to see it consistently for me to be out here and be like, man, yeah, we got something here, right? Because everything ain't glitter. That glitters ain't gold, right? They had a good season last year, some ups and downs between both of them, be honest. I think that you seen Adebo start to come on at the end of the season. Marshawn came on at the beginning of the season. They need to put it together on a level of consistency, Once again, man, that's the worst thing in the world, right? Worst thing in the world when guy got all the talent and they have all the tools to be successful and they not. Worst thing in the world is a guy 6'7" plus can't hoop, right? A guy, you know what I'm saying, there's 300 and some pounds, look like John Coffey, and can't play no type of football, offensive line, no nothing. Ain't that make you mad watching that, right? Like how you that big and can't move nobody off the line of scrimmage? How you that tall and can't run up the court and dunk? Like, I wish I had your height. That make you mad, don't it? Right? You have all these tools as a cornerback. And you telling me that you can't lead the league in interception? You telling me that you can't have a high percentage on pass breakups? Like, come on, man, give me a break. I mean, how many times we done that, man? I'm pretty sure I ain't the only person. There's one dude, I remember his name was Carl. Shouts out to Carl. I don't know if you listen or not. When I was staying in Dallas, Texas, worked out at the LA Fitness. Carl, 6'6". You know what I'm saying? Big, tall, white guy. Trying to run down the court. Man, put up a jumper? Nope. Throw the ball to him. You know what I'm saying? He tried to catch the ball, hit him all in the face. He red in the face. Remember one time he was trying to do a standing vertical dunk, Shaq style, right? All of a sudden, like, I'm talking to some of my comrades over there on the wall. All of a sudden, like, all you hear is blue-doo-doo. He tried to dunk the ball. The ball got caught by the rim, and he fell down on the floor. We used to be so mad at this dude. Great dude, fun guy, but we used to be so mad because we like, man, we wish you had your height. Everybody up in that thing, right? up in that thing, have hoop dreams, NFL dreams. Oh, if it wasn't for my knee, if it wasn't for my ankle, it wasn't for my neck, it wasn't for, my quad, I probably wouldn't be in here right now. And then all of a sudden you 16 years old, 17 years old, right? 6'6". So you still got a little bit more growing to do and can't hit the back of a barn door. Ain't nothing worse than that, folks. Ain't nothing worse than that. I know we took a turn, but I think it all still applies. If you have the talent, you possess those skills, we want to see it happen. We want to see it happen. Teddy Pendergrass singing all the songs and wrote all the records, and Harry was getting all the buddy. Hey, man, you had a lot of guys that used to be like that, man. Shoot, Dr. Dre was like that with Suge Knight, right? NWA, Ice Cube, writing all Easy-E joints, right? And they was low, and they was eating lobster, and they up in there eating what he said, eating cheeseburgers from McDonald's and stuff like that, man. Shoot. Yeah, they had a lot of that going on in these record companies. Still do, man. I wasn't surprised at Adebo. I said he was a steal before last season. Started boy, a ball hawk. Yeah, I said it, man. I said that too, Millie, because I was like, man, this dude gonna be good. I said, you got to prepare yourself. I said, you might see some rookie mistakes, but I think that you about to see, he gonna end up being something good because he's smart. Like that dude is a savant because you never see him like make the same mistake twice, and that's something that is very special when a player can be that way. Because you got a lot of guys getting, they get beat on the same play over and over again. Dude probably had to wait for his coordination to catch up with his body. Yeah, probably. Who knows, man? I mean, I ain't seen him in years. Who knows? He might end up becoming very good. I'm not sure. But at that particular time, man, my boy couldn't hit the ocean in a boat. Like, seriously. Like, that man couldn't catch a cab in New York City. Like, I mean, he was just so uncoordinated. It was frustrating. Like, some games, he might have some better games. You can tell, like, he started to develop a little bit. But my goodness, man. That boy, he was, like, kind of, like, lurky. Like, if you ever see, like, Zion Williamson, Zion, he coordinated, of course, he's freakishly athletic. But he got, like, this lurky walk with him, like, lurch, you know what I'm saying? Like, he be, like, hunched forward and, like, walking like a giant or something like that, Yeah, that's kind of how he was. But, way less coordinated. TJ, serious question. What's your reaction to the whole, Gnu thing? I don't know who that is. What is that exactly? Explain it to me. I'm unsure with P.J. Williams at safety. I don't know why. That's his best position he played since he been in the league. He a better safety than he is corner. And, if you put him in a nickel, he's able to guard like the tight ends and stuff like that. So, man, him being a safety was a godsend to his career. We weren't even having this conversation, and nobody would feel the way that they do about P.J. If he didn't move to safety. We would have been like, man, get him up out of here, man. I'll buy him a plane or a train ticket up out of here. Saved his career. Hey, TJ, somebody getting on your boy saying, I look like an inmate. Tell him I'm beast mode weight I'm an inmate. Well, look, I think they just joking, man. I mean, you work out every day. You try to be in good shape. Hey, man, some people just may feel that way about you, man, but they don't mean that's who you are. You're a good, solid dude, man. I appreciate that. Is a rapper whose dead body they propped up at... I didn't hear about that, man. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I've been like off the radar when it comes to like social media and stuff like that. First off, I'm an advocate for anxiety and depression and stuff like that, man. That stuff weighs on you, and a lot of social media attention can also lead to that. So I try to stay away from stuff. And then on top of that, I know I'm kind of late to the party, but I just binge watched all 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. You know what I'm saying? Game of Thrones, I should say. That's why I've been there for the last couple of days. I've been watching Game of Thrones. Like, I finally got through it. I know I'm probably late. Some of y'all probably been watched it, but Yeah, that's what I've been doing, man. Game of Thrones, that great show. The ending sucked, but the show was, the show was good. Definitely it was worth all the attention that it got during that time. Like my wife, she was laughing at me, saying, "You just ain't gonna do nothing. All you gonna do is sit up here and watch Game of Thrones, huh?" Yeah, man, that's what I'm gonna do. My boy Jon Snow, I had to see what that boy gonna do. My boy Jon Snow, I had to see what Arya gonna do. Sansa, all them, the Dragon Queen. So I was like, man, I gotta check this out. But Jon Snow was the truth, man. Jon Snow was the truth, man. Probably the realest one on the show. Everybody else, man, straight treacherous, backstabbing, all that. Yeah, but Game of Thrones, man, it was a good show. But then they also kind of set it up if they wanted to bring it back. Boy, they down bad, have a dead body at the club. How the F they gonna do that? Man, I don't know. TJ, you're a class act. Your show is a good model for any podcast. I appreciate that, man. I try to be. I try to be. And I hope, a lot of other podcasts, are the same. Show is about the folks, not about the person. I mean, of course, you learn certain things about me through the show, but the show is for everybody. Has viewpoints. One thing that bothers me, and I always say this, and some of you probably heard me say this again and again, but what bothers me is when people have shows and they're not interactive with the audience. The audience makes the show. And I just feel like when guys are sitting up there talking 2 and 3 and 4 hours, don't have no call-ins, no comments, no text message, no nothing where they'd actually learning or reading, from, about what the audience have to say. I think that you're doing your audience a disservice. TJ, turn off that Game of Thrones before the end. Well, I already watched it. I already watched all 8 seasons. The queen, well, that lady was horrible, man. That lady was horrible. I don't know how she lasted 8 seasons. I mean, then my boy Littlefinger, man, treacherous. It was a couple people, it was 3 people on the show. I was just glad that died. I'm sorry, they were just horrible. Okay, Ramsay, who took over Winterfell. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all like, man, what the world he talking about? Ramsay, Joffrey, Littlefinger, okay, and the queen. Okay, I throw the queen. Queen and Ramsay probably 1 and 2. Joffrey 3rd, and Littlefinger, old treacherous tail, he the 4th. For real, terrible folks. Dragon Queen, my favorite. Yeah, man, Dragon Queen, man. Shouts out to her. Danny. Let's see. I saw that It's Horrible. He in a club. So no happy ending. It was a happy ending. It was a happy ending in Game of Thrones. I mean, it just left. It was just, man, it left a lot to be desired. Like the way the Dragon Queen died, after all the stuff that she did throughout the entire show, and to die like that, come on, man, y'all could have did better than that. TJ, my dog, I was just giving you a hard time every now and then. Nah, it's all good, man. It's all good. I don't have no problem with that. I don't have no problem with that at all, man. David Jones, you low down. Ramsey on the Rams. I gave up on after season 1. Well, look, man, Netflix has spoiled all of us, and as y'all can see, we winding down the show. But look, Netflix has spoiled us because Netflix, they put episode after episode, right? So now it's like when you watch shows on HBO and you watch shows on Showtime, like I watch Power, right? I watch Power. I watch all these different other shows. It's like now you have to wait till next week for another episode to come out. I like all my shows at one time. That's why I won't watch a show. I mean, and honestly, all they have is 10 episodes per season. So I'll wait. I'll wait a couple weeks and then I'll watch 2 episodes at a time or 3 episodes at a time. I don't like waiting for the episodes. It spoiled us. Netflix has spoiled us, man. How they just put all these series in one fell swoop and you can just binge watch it on a Saturday or binge watch it on an off day, right? I don't want to do that, So I just wait to binge watch, to be honest. TJ, when you watch Game of Thrones, did you see a girl named Valis Valoka? She was on there in 2015, 2016. She's from England, and she was a singer. I want to say is that the black girl that was on there that was hanging out with the Dragon Queen? I don't know, man. The old woman who poisoned Joffrey was the GOAT, man. Her and Littlefinger, yeah, man. Yeah, they definitely was, man. I think she was the lady of High Garden or whatever. Yeah, that was well deserved. Homeboy was going in at the wedding, man. It was like, and they made it like so good because you're like, man, please. The one thing I liked about the show is the fact that the dastardly characters that they had on the show, they're like, make you like, man, please just go ahead and get them up out of here. Like it's like every episode, like they just did one down bad thing after another. You're like, man, please get them up out of here. Everyone is noticing how great this show is. I've been saying the best Saints podcast, in my opinion. TJ is like a rapper that goes into the booth and just freestyle. Well, this show means so much to me because it's so organic. You know, I started off this show just because I just like the Saints and I just wanted to do something different. You know, I just wanted to do something different and have an audience that has a voice. A lot of people, don't want to do a podcast, but they have strong opinions about their feelings about the New Orleans Saints or sports in general. And that's what I like about the show. You know, I try to be as interactive. You know, sometimes, I just look at these other shows. I'm like, why? You know what I'm saying? How they maintain like certain levels of success when they just don't pay attention to the most important person. That's the audience. Good to be back listening to the podcast. Who that? Casual Dex, man. Hear from you in a minute, man. How you been, man? Casual Dex. I wouldn't see you out there in Canada. Man, shouts out to Casual, man. Very true. Larry, to me, Marshawn is the best in the league. Yeah, he definitely one of the best. No, TJ, she was white. No, I don't remember that. I have to go back. She had the black hair and sings opera. Good singing voice. Nah, I don't remember that one. The Witcher is great too. Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to check out some of these other shows, man. I'm watching like some of these shows that Ben went off, and now I'm starting to watch them, So that was definitely a show I kind of, got into. Man, I was up at like 2, 3 in the morning trying to finish that thing, man. And my wife was like, "That's all you gonna do all day?" I'm like, man, I rarely even watch TV. And she was getting on me about that. I'm like, I rarely even watch TV. If Matthew go to the Saints, they are easily the best secondary in the league, and he would be a ticket seller. Yeah, I agree with that. If you into that type of thing, I'm more into like winning. What do you think about Tiger Woods? I think he's playing in the Masters, if I'm not mistaken. Look, I'm glad to see Tiger back. I think it means a lot to the game of golf. I know he had some ups and downs, with his health and all the controversy. But I think we all can agree, man, dude, the greatest golfer of all time. I know they have Arnold Palmer and stuff like that and, letting Jack Nicklaus and, guys like that. But when it comes to like the game of golf, I don't think any other player has meant as much to the game of golf as Tiger Woods did. The dude was box office, continue to be box office. Anytime his name is on a marquee, the whole entire place, like basically gets sold out. Ratings go up. I mean, he means a lot. He means a lot to the game of golf. So, yeah. Tiger Woods is playing in the Masters, yeah. Have you been invited to come in as a guest to After Further Review? Great exposure for your channel if you can make that happen. Also, Locked On Saints. Ramon, look, I would love to go on those shows. If they ask me, yeah, I would be there. Shouts out to my guy, RP3, Raymond Parks III. I've been on 103.7 The Game on several occasions. It's like the only person that really like, as far as like, ESPN or some of those other networks that reach out. I mean, I would love to be, a part of those shows. A lot of people that ask me to come on the shows be like people from other teams, like the Eagles or the Falcons or the Bucks or something like that. They'll ask me to come on the show, and I go on there. But I don't know, man. Sometimes I just wonder, like, I don't know. Like I've asked, all those guys have been on my show. All of them have, but You know, I mean, look, I don't sit up here and be like wondering like why that happened. I have respect for both of those guys. All the networks out there, they work hard. If they ask if my time will come, it'll happen. If not, then we're gonna continue to do it. I don't lose any sleep about anything like that. I think I'll do a pretty good job here. Are you going to start uploading the audio version on the podcast platforms again? Man, I'm gonna start doing that. A lot of it had to do with the fact that I was mad about some sponsorship opportunities, and I felt like they was getting my content for the free, and they ain't want to pay your boy. But yeah, once I get these situations negotiated, look, with the audio podcast, man, look, it was more like a contractual thing, right? So when they give me what they say they're gonna give me in the contract, then I start uploading the audio podcast. But I have another way to do that, but I just won't do it because it'll be linked to other platforms. And I'm not trying to put my content out there for people for free when they told me contractually that they was going to give me something for it. So that's the reason why. I mean, to be honest with you. I hope he wins the Masters. I know this is off base, but it looks like you cloned your son. Cloning humans is yeah, that's what everybody says, man. Everybody says my son look just like me. It's a good thing, right? So I ain't got to question nothing. I'm just kidding, man. But seriously, man, look, I love my son. A lot of people say that. I think he's starting to look more like my wife now, like in the face. I just think he has like my features, It's not like you can just not tell. He has like those eyes like that most like my family members have, and also like my ears and head shape and stuff like that. But like when he like makes facial expressions, all I see is my wife. TJ, do you think you should change from West Coast playbook? They play mostly West Coast already, man. There are a lot of West Coast offense in the Saints playbook, to be honest with you. And if they did, look, if they played a West Coast offense, you probably see Jameis, you probably really see him like play really, really good, you know what I'm saying? Like off the chains good. If you combine that with a running game, because look, the most average quarterback can play in the West Coast offense. If you can't like conduct a West Coast offense, like there's no hope for you. But Jameis is already good. So if you add the West Coast offense, you might see him play like some of the best football of his career. I already read that one. And don't forget Ryan Fitzpatrick helped us get this show to fellas. That's how long I've been around. Yeah, man, Ryan Fitzpatrick, the GOAT. Already read that. Trey says great show. Should we start looking for someone to take over for Demario Davis, or do you think he still has a few years left at the top level? Look, you always should be looking for younger guys to step in. Man, you got that in Pete Warner. I think as soon as like DeMario start to slow down, you might see Pete Warner take over that middle linebacker position, which he played when he was at Ohio State. But he can fly around the field, man. I think that you're probably going to see Pete Warner play a lot better because he had some good moments last season. I think sometimes like they kind of fly under the radar because he was a little injured. Hey, TJ, I heard there's a guy out there named Hoodie Drew, great YouTuber, and you can help and can help you become famous, offering multi-year $1 million contracts. Well, if you was, man, then shoot, let me holler at you. Nah, but seriously, man, like all I'm saying, all I want is for my, the podcast to grow, for me to grow as a podcaster. And, there's certain levels. Man, there's certain levels to like, accomplishment. Like sometimes like I wouldn't mind like somebody reaching out to me for that. It makes you feel like, I don't want to say it make you feel better about yourself, but there are certain goals that makes you appreciate doing this, or doing whatever a little bit more. Now, I just don't like the fake folk, the ones that's out here want you to read different stuff for your sponsors and stuff for they companies, and then they turn around and give you the runaround, like DraftKings, like Veritone, who have give people to run around. Like I don't feel like that, because if it was like one of those bigger, companies and bigger podcasters, like, would y'all be giving them to run around? No. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel bad for like people that have, podcasters on a lower scale, because they don't care about you. So yeah, that does bother me. Shout out to Hoodie Jube on his channel. I enjoy him over there. We have fun on his channel. Love this guy. Yeah, man, Hoodie Jube does a good job, and he's growing as a podcast. He's I want to say almost at 1,000 subscribers. So y'all make sure y'all make that happen. And I like the interactive. I check it out from afar. He has like individuals where he interacts. He brings a lot of people into the podcast, and have people, have their point of view. And I think that's important. The important thing about people that's doing podcasting is make sure that you remember your audience. It's not just about you. Some people, they start podcasts and make it about themselves. Like, people take time out to listen to you. Never forget that. Like, never forget people taking the time out to listen to you. So some people get on this arrogant tip, like when their numbers start going up and, you start to reach monetization territory, and all of a sudden you feel like you can pump up your chest and tell people, their opinions don't matter, their views don't matter. And that's just not the way to go. What up, TJ? Do you think the Saints double dipped in the draft at wide receiver? If so, do you think they look at a dude named Justin Ross in the third? Justin Ross from Clemson. Yeah, that would be he'll be a good pickup, man. Justin Ross is good. I've been watching him his entire career when he was at Clemson. I think he's good, man. He reminds me a lot of Michael Thomas. I think he has like a lot of Michael Thomas abilities. Him and T. Higgins kind of cut from the same cloth. T. Higgins for the Bengals, a lot of people may even forget that Justin Ross was the guy. You know what I'm saying? That T. Higgins was the other guy. But yeah, Justin Ross would definitely be a good addition to the New Orleans Saints. LSU players are hit and miss, if we were being honest, unless it's wide receiver DB. Good point. A lot of the offensive talent is definitely top notch. But you also have some good defensive players that played out there too. Me personally, I think TJ would be a perfect fit with Mike Detillier and Bobby Abel. That'll be a dream team show. Yeah, it definitely would, man. Be a dream team show for me. Look, man, I told you, Mike Detillier, one of my favorite people to interview, talk to. So yeah, I definitely would love to collaborate with him. We still need a pass catching tight end. I agree with that. And Hootie for governor. Hoodie Jew. Yeah, Hoodie Jew for governor. But thank y'all, man, so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Thank y'all so much for allowing the State of the Saints podcast to be a part of your listening pleasure. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that like button before you get up out of here. Previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, the Pigskin Podcast Network. And also you can go to Facebook.com, search the State of the Saints podcast, and get content there as well. I hope everybody has a good day. Hope everybody enjoy the rest of their day. And like always, all I got to say is, who dat?